Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new, welcome. I am your little darling narrator, and on this channel, I read stories. Not just any stories, but I think I read some really great stories for the young readers. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, I strongly recommend you go ahead and you subscribe, because all we do here are read good stories for the young readers. And if there's any story that you like, don't forget, hit that like button. That just helps this channel, and we appreciate all the support that we've been getting. So stay tuned. The name of this story is called Percy Takes the Plunge. This is part of the Thomas and Friends series by the Reverend W. Awdry. Sometimes Percy takes freight cars full of stones to the other end of the line. There he meets engines from the other railway. One day Henry wanted to rest in the shed, but Percy was talking to some tank engines. It was raining hard. Water swirled under my boiler. I couldn't see where I was going, but I struggled on. Oh, Percy, you are brave. Well, said Percy modestly, it wasn't anything really. Water's nothing to an engine with determination. Tell us more, Percy, said the engines. What are you engines doing here? Hissed Henry. This shed is for Sir Top Hand Hat's engines. Go away. Silly things, Henry snorted. They're not silly. Percy had been enjoying himself. He was cross because Henry had sent them away. They are silly, and so are you. Water's nothing to an engine with determination. Puh! Anyway, said cheeky Percy, I'm not afraid of water. I like it. He ran away singing. Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. Percy arrived home feeling pleased with himself. Silly old Henry, he chuckled. Thomas was looking at a sign on the quay. It said, danger. We mustn't go past it, Thomas said. That's orders. Why? Danger means falling down something, said Thomas. I went past danger once and fell down a mine. Percy looked beyond the sign. I can't see a mine, he said. He didn't know that the foundations of the quay had sunk and that the rails now sloped downward to the sea. Silly sign, said Percy. For days and days he tried to sneak past it, but his driver stopped him every time. No, you don't, he would say. Then Percy made a plan. One day at the top station, he whispered to the freight cars, will you give me a bump when we get to the quay? The freight cars were surprised. They had never been asked to bump an engine before. They giggled and chattered about it the whole way down. Whoa, Percy! Whoa! Said his driver, and Percy slowed down obediently at the distant signal. Driver doesn't know my plan, he chuckled. On and on and on, laughed the freight cars. Percy thought they were helping. I'll pretend to stop at the station, but the freight cars will push me past the sign. Then I'll make them stop. I can do that whenever I like. If Percy hadn't have been so conceited, he would never have been so silly. Every wise engine knows that you cannot trust freight cars. They reached the station, and Percy's brakes groaned. That was the signal for the freight cars. Go on, Go on, they yelled and surged forward together. They gave Percy a fearful bump and knocked his driver and fireman off the footplate. Ow! Said Percy, sliding past the sign. The day was misty, the rails were slippery, his wheels wouldn't grip. Percy was frantic. That's enough, he hissed. But it was too late. Once on the slope, he tobogganed helplessly down, crashed through the buffers, and slithered into the sea. You are a very disobedient engine. Percy knew that voice. He groaned. The foreman had borrowed a small boat and rowed Sir Topham Hatt around. Please, sir, get me out, sir. I'm truly sorry, sir. No, Percy, we cannot do that till high tide. I hope it will teach you to obey orders. Yes, sir. Percy shivered miserably. He was cold. Fish were playing hide and seek through his wheels. The tide rose higher and higher. He was feeling his position more and more deeply every minute. It was nearly dark when they brought floating cranes, cleared away the freight cars, and lifted Percy out. He was too cold and stiff to move by himself, so he was sent to the works the next day on Henry's goods train. Well, 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 chuckled Henry. Did you like the water? No. I am surprised. You need more determination, Percy. Water's nothing to an engine with determination, you know. Perhaps you will like it better next time? But Percy was quite determined that there wouldn't be a next time. Well, that ends our story, and we have a ton of takeaways, and all because Percy just could not be told anything, because in his mind he knew more than anyone else, and that's always a danger, because when you think you know more than everyone around you, you've kind of closed yourself up to possibilities, to warnings, to just a ton of things. And he did that. So he had that working against him. He had the fact that that kind of falls in the realm of being conceited. And they even mention it in the story that he was being conceited. And because he was being conceited and thinking he knew best, he just knew if he got the freight cars on board with his plan that he could control the whole situation. But he couldn't. And if he was in the right frame of mind and listened to others who knew better, from experience, he would have known that as well. Because he's not stupid. It's not that he doesn't know how to learn. He does. He was just being very conceited and very full of himself. And for some reason, the sign that said danger and being told not to go past because that's a warning, it just turned on a light in him that said, I've got to go past that sign. I need to see what's further down that road. And unfortunately for him, further down that particular, train track led to the sea. And he had to discover that himself. And some people have to. Sometimes they have to fall and actually, hit bottom before they realize, well, maybe I was wrong. So if you can accept that sometimes you can be wrong, then you open yourself up to the possibilities that you can learn from your mistakes. And that's the hope with this, that Percy, and it sounded like at the end of the story, that Percy will learn from his mistake, that he thought he knew it all. He realized he did not. And because of the consequence, he's going to do better the next time. And that's all you can hope to do. Know that you will make mistakes because there is nobody perfect. But what you can do to really, elevate or level yourself up is to learn from your mistakes. So, my young readers, I just want you to take that in and digest that. And until next time, I am your little darling narrator, out.